friends, I am Arpit and I'm here with today's analysis. Today is 28th of May and we are going to deal with two very important topics which are in news. The Antarctic Parliament. Now, the 46th meeting of this Antarctic Parliament is going on in India. Actually, this is not the first such meeting which is happening in India. One such meeting happened in 2007 as well. Now, this meeting is done to give effect to the Antarctic Treaty, which lays basically all claims in abeyance on Antarctic, prohibits nuclear testing over there, disposal of waste over there. Overall, the main aim is to conserve the Antarctic region. So many countries have gathered in India and they are going to discuss the future of Antarctica in this meeting. Next is Cyclone REMAL. Cyclone REMAL has made a landform on the eastern coast of India. Has it caused damage? Yes. Has it displaced people? Yes. The NDRF, that is the National Disaster Response Force, along with other forces, are active in rehabilitation and rescue works. Now, this name, Remal, means sand, and this name has been given by Oman, which is basically a part of panel on tropical cyclones responsible for naming cyclones in the Indian Ocean region. There are 13 countries in panel of tropical cyclones. All the countries have given 13 names. So in total, we have 169 names, and one name is picked up at one point of time, irrespective of the place where the cyclone is coming. So a name given by Oman, Remal, is given to a cyclone which is happening or impacting India and Bangladesh. So this is how we are going to deal with things today. Let's start with the first topic, that is Antarctic Parliament. Now, India is hosting the 46th Antarctic Treaty Consultative Mechanism, ATCM 46, also known as the Antarctic Parliament, from May 20 to 30 in Kochi, that is Kerala. Now, the National Center for Polar and Oceanic Research, Goa, through the Ministry of Earth Sciences, has organized the meeting. Now, there are 56 member countries in the Antarctic Treaty, and all these countries are coming for this meeting. What is Antarctic Treaty? We will see. Is India a member? Obviously, India is a member. That is why we are hosting this. But when did India become a member? We will see. And India last hosted this ATCM in New Delhi in 2007. And after that, it is 2024 when we are hosting this meeting. Now, the Antarctic Treaty, the main thing for which this kind of meeting is happening, because you know this meeting is to give effect to, or I would say, diligently implement the Antarctic Treaty. There were 12 countries in the beginning: Argentina, Australia, Belgium, Chile, France, Japan, New Zealand, Norway, South Africa, USSR, the United Kingdom, and the United States of America were the original signatories to the Antarctic Treaty, which was signed on December 1, 1959. So it is a pretty old treaty, and it is that time of the world where the Cold War was going on between USA and USSR, and it was predicted, or it was speculated, that some or the other power bloc, that is USA or USSR, will try to go and capture Antarctica. So the world leaders, in a very responsible way, signed this treaty. One of the major clauses of this treaty is that no one can lay territorial claims in Antarctica. Means Antarctica is no man's land. Treaty came into force in 1961, and a total of 56 countries, including India, in 1983 have joined it since then. So in present day scenario, there are 56 countries and India is one of them. But India was not a founding member. India joined it in 1983. The Antarctic Treaty, which was signed during the Cold War, effectively designed Antarctica as a no man's land outside the bounds of international geographical or geopolitical competition, that no one will be competing over there in Antarctica. Now, what are the key features of this treaty? Antarctica will be used only for peaceful purposes, and no militarization or fortification shall be allowed. All signatories will have the freedom to carry out scientific investigations and should share plans for scientific programs, extend requirement cooperation, and freely make available the data gathered. Nuclear testing, which is very important, because since people will consider it as a no man's land, so they can go for nuclear testing over there. Nuclear testing or disposal of radioactive waste materials shall be prohibited. So these are prohibited anywhere in Antarctica. Holds all territorial claims and abeyance, means no one can claim that this is my territory in Antarctica or this territory belongs to this particular country. No, nothing like this. The treaty applies to the area south of 60 degrees south latitude, including all ice shelves and islands. So the, I would say, jurisdiction of this treaty is south of 60 degrees south. Headquarters, Buenos Aires, Argentina. So this is the basics of this particular treaty. Now about India in Antarctica. India since signed this treaty in 1983, though India's presence in Antarctica also increased post that. Let us see. So since 1983, India has been a consultative party to the Antarctic Treaty. Now consultative parties, basically only 29 consultative party status countries are there out of 56, means they are having more powers in this bloc. More powers like, they are considered as the core group. So they are consulted with respect to any changes to the treaty or any meetings to the treaty and all. India votes and participates in all key decision-making processes. So, since being a consultative party, we do that. India has undertaken scientific research in Antarctica since 1981. The first Antarctic research station, Dakshin Gangotri, was set up in 1983. So, see, we started research in 1981, but we became the member of this treaty in 1983. So, it clearly means that to start research, it is not compulsory to become a member. So we started in 1981. 1983, we became a member. And, Dakshin Gangotri was the first, I would say, research station set up by India in 1983 in Antarctica. In 1989, India set up its second Antarctic station named as Maitri. In 2012, India inaugurated Bharati, its third Antarctica research station. Although the station focuses on oceanographic and geological study, ISRO utilizes it for receiving the Indian remote sensing satellite data, this particular center, that is Bharati. Now, what are the future plans of India over there in Antarctica? India plans to open a massive new station over there named as Maitri 2. The Maitri 1 is also there, a few kilometers from the aging Maitri station. Operations are set to begin by 2029. India has also passed this Antarctic Act 2022, and reaffirming its commitment to the Antarctic Treaty that we pledge to conserve the Antarctic region and all these things are there. Now, in this law, as far as I remember, uh, if you have to go and travel to Antarctica, you have to register yourself. So tourism is being regulated. Rules are being made for, I would say, Indian tourists visiting over there in Antarctic. And there are travel agents which are now certified for sending people to Antarctic directly from India. Otherwise, we had to go from Argentina. So we had to register ourselves as tourists in Argentina and then we had to go. But now, after the passage of this act, you can do it here only. Now, agenda before ATCM. What is the agenda before ATCM? ATCM is meant to facilitate a global dialogue on law, logistics, governance, science, tourism, and other aspects. During the conference, India will seek to promote the idea of peaceful governance in Antarctica. So, this is basically what the main theme is, that peaceful governance should be there. There should be no, I would say, conflicts among the countries that this area in Antarctica is mine, this area is yours, or something like this, because you cannot claim territorially. So, you should not start fighting over it. Dr. M. Ravichandran, Secretary, Ministry of Earth Sciences, claimed India would also introduce a new working group for regulating tourism on the continent. Since we have included this component in our, I would say, law, domestic law, which we made it, we want to make it an international, I would say, provision in this treaty that tourism should be regulated because tourism in Antarctica is increasing. And due to the increased tourism in Antarctica, environment should not be hampered over there. That should be the main goal. The Netherlands, Norway, and some other European countries that share India's view on formulating regulations for tourism in Antarctica will be part of this working group. So let's see what happens. Now, during the Kochi meet, India will also officially table its plan to construct Maitri 2 before the members. Any new construction or initiative in Antarctica requires the ATCM's approval. So, Maitri 2, we have to make it operational by 2029. So, we will keep this proposal over here, and any country which has to open a research station has to, table such kind of proposals in front of ATCM. If ATCM approves, then only you can go ahead with that. Now, the ATCM is discussing or has discussed on sustainable management of Antarctica and its resources, biodiversity prospecting, how diverse the biodiversity will be there. Inspections and exchange of information and data, research, collaboration, capacity building, and cooperation, and climate change impacts on Antarctica and beyond. So, climate change is something which has really impacted Antarctica a lot. Basically, both the poles, North Pole and South Pole. Now, next is Cyclone REMAL. Cyclone, typhoons, hurricanes, multiple names given to this geographical phenomenon. Whereas, if it is coming here or if it is occurring in the Indian Ocean region, it is called as a cyclone. A low pressure is needed for that. 27 degrees Celsius should be the minimum sea surface temperature. With global warming happening, you know, this occurrence of 27 degrees Celsius low pressure zones has become more frequent. And that is why these kind of cyclones have become more frequent and they have become more destructive as well. One such cyclone we're talking about is Cyclone REMAL. Cyclone REMAL made a landfall between West Bengal's Sagar Island and Bangladesh's Khepupara. What does the name mean and who chose it? The name means sand and in Arabic, REMAL, and was chosen by Oman and assigned according to the standards of Convention of Naming Tropical Cyclones in the region. So, what is the standard of naming and all? How naming is done? UPSC has asked this question in mains, so it obviously becomes important. So, naming of cyclones. I'm not going into the basics of cyclones. What is a cyclone? What are types of cyclones? This is too basic. We almost study it in geography, but do mention in the comment section that if you want me to cover that as well, so I'll be covering that in the coming videos. But naming of cyclones. Realizing the importance of an effective cyclone warning and disaster mitigation in the North Indian Ocean region, comprising both the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal, World Meteorological Organization came together in 1972 to establish panel on tropical cyclones. So this panel on tropical cyclones was basically formed by uh, United Nations World Meteorological Organization for this Indian Ocean region only. Who were the members of PTC then? It originally had 8 members: Bangladesh, India, Maldives, Myanmar, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Oman, and Thailand. All these countries are there in the Indian Ocean region, and some of them are there in the Bay of Bengal region, some of them are there in the Arabian Sea region. Both the seas are part of Indian Ocean. So PTC members were there, and PTC was responsible for naming. When did the naming start? In its 27th session in 2000 in Muscat, Oman, the PTC agreed to assign names to tropical cyclones in the Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea region. Before that, naming was not decided. And even it was not in 2000, it was in 2004 when we started naming the cyclones. Now, expansion of PTC. In 2018, number of members increased. Earlier there were 8 members. Now 4 more members were added: Iran, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Yemen. So these 5 members have been added. So total 13 members now. Now these 13 members gave a list of 169 cyclones. Means each member of these 13 countries gave 13 names of cyclones. So in April 2020, a list of 169 cyclone names were released. 13 suggestions, each from the 13 countries. It is the list that is currently being used to name cyclones. Now, how it happens? And, see, this is one table such given. There are 3 such tables. In the first table, there are 5 names given by one country, like Bangladesh gave Nisar, Biparjoy, Arnab, Upakul, Bharshaw. Take care. India gave Gati, Tej, Murasu, and Vyom. The 5 names. The next 2 tables have four names. So 5 plus 4, 9 plus 4, 30. So first, what will happen? All these 13 countries, here only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are there. 7 countries are left. But just to explain to you, I have taken this example of the first 6 countries only. So the first ever cyclone after the naming convention started was named as Nisar, given by Bangladesh, irrespective of the place where it is coming, irrespective of the place whether it is impacting Bangladesh or not. If it is coming in this region, Indian Ocean region, it will be named as Nisarg. Now, the second cyclone after Nisarg which came was Cyclone Gati, then Cyclone Niva, then Burevi, Tauktai, Yaks, like this. It went. It completed all 13. Then it came over here: Biparjoy, Tej, Hamoon, Midhili, Michong, Raymond. So cyclone Michong was the previous cyclone, and after REMAL, whatever the country will be, it will be named after whatever the name that country has given, it will be named after that. So likewise it goes. Since 13 are not there, not was not possible also for me to include in one slide. So 6, then 7th till 13th it will go. Then it will come to again Biparjoy age like this. This will complete 13. Then column 3 will start 13. Then column 5 will start 13. Then we will move on to the next table where four names are there. Then that table will once get completed, we'll move on to the next table. So already 169 are there, 169 names have been given. And this is how it happens. But there are some basic guidelines that countries need to follow while sending in their proposals. These include ensuring the proposed names is neutral to politics and political figures, religious beliefs, cultures, and gender, does not hurt the sentiments of any group of population over the globe, is not very rude and cruel in nature, it is short, easy to pronounce, and not offensive to any PTC member, is at most 8 letters long, is provided with its pronunciation and voiceover. It should not be like that you have, just given the name. You should be giving it with voice or pronunciation. Is not repeated, not before, not after. So these are the guidelines which the countries need to follow while submitting the names. And they did follow while submitting those 13 names by each country. But yes, this thing is very important, that why naming of cyclones is important. Why we started giving names to cyclones since 2004. Now, adopting names for cyclones makes it easier for people to remember. Apart from the general public, it also has the scientific community, the media, the disaster managers, etc. Now, with the name, it is easy to identify individual cyclones, create awareness of development, rapidly disseminate warnings to increase community preparedness, and remove confusion where there are multiple cyclone systems over a region. And this is, we're talking about Indian Ocean region. This kind of practice is adopted in other regions of the world as well. It is not only unique to Indian Ocean region that we are naming cyclones over here only. So this is how naming and all is done. Now we come to the MCQs. Consider the following statements and mark the correct one. The National Center for Polar and Ocean Research, Goa, has organized the 46th Antarctic Treaty Consultative Meeting, ATCM 46 it is called as. This is the first such meeting in India. Out of these, which are correct? Consider the statements with respect to Antarctic Treaty and mark the correct one. Antarctica shall be used only for peaceful purposes and no militarization or fortification shall be allowed. All signatories will have the freedom to carry out scientific investigations and should share plans for scientific programs, extended required cooperation, and freely make available the data gathered. And third is territorial claims were not to be in abeyance. Among these, which one is correct? Which of these is the oldest research station of India in Antarctica? Maitri, Dakshin Gangotri, Bharati, none of the above. Very simple question. Which country has named cyclone Remal? Very simple question. I'm not even going into the options. And finally, the last question. Consider the following statements and mark the correct ones. Naming of cyclones is important for making it easier for people to remember. India was a founding member of Panel on Tropical Cyclones. Among these, which one is correct? So, with this, we've come to an end of today's session. I will be meeting you tomorrow now with more such informative news pieces. Till then, you guys very well know what to do. Keep studying, keep reading, keep writing, and most importantly, keep revising. Namaste. Jai Hind.